You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
Zod and Drea podcast. We are here today reporting from the Steele Indian Park in Central Phoenix to talk to the community and all of the activists that are here regarding all of the executive orders that came into play on the third day of Trump administration. So let's hear what they have to say and how we can come together.
And thank you for joining us today on such short notice. Petra Falcon with Promise, Arizona. And the president's announcement that he will push plans to build a Great Wall, attack sanctuary cities, and clamp down on immigration around the world, Muslims around the world, is immoral. America is the most powerful and wealthiest country in the world, and yet its leader is attacking the most vulnerable among us. Welcoming immigrants to this country to seek a better life is part of who we are as America.
Well, I come here to tell you today, my friends, is that you don't have to be victimized and you don't have to be a victim. This won't take long. We are here in this physical moment right now to let it be known as a community here in Arizona that we plan on fighting every single thing that plans to hurt our community. Whether you look like me or not. Take a look behind me. You see many colors, creeds, characters, all standing together to fight one thing: bad policies. So I didn't come here to tell you about the policies. What I came here to do was tell you about what you can do to fight this. Well, I come here today to tell you 3.9 years away from now, there's going to be another election. Right here locally, there'll be elections coming up. It is your responsibility to make your own checklist. And every single policy that happens, you make sure that you just check that off. And after they add up to being 3 or 4 pages, the next thing that you do is you go knock on your next door neighbor's door and say, this is why we need to support this person or that person and not the current administration.
We're here as a diverse group of community, and we are here to represent love, and that we are going to go forth in love. My name is Tara. I'm with the Love Glasses Revolution, and we're just here to make the world a better place.
What motivated you to start the revolution?
My community has had backlash, hate, negativity, and I decided that we can't control much of what's going on in the world around us all the time, but we can control ourselves and our reaction to it, and everything starts with love.
If you were able to have just a few moments with the current administration, what would you ask of them?
To put their love glasses on. That's it. It's that simple. Everything, when you choose to see people as humans and you connect with them, you hear their stories, you know them, I mean, I can't imagine it wouldn't change the way you think about people moving forward in your decision making, your policy making.
That's intent. And where can we find the love glasses? As you can see, they're pretty fancy.
Loveglassesrevolution.com. We have a website. You can buy them there.
Instagram?
Oh, we're on Instagram, Facebook. You got it.
Great. We'll look for it then. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Tashina Rain, and I come from the Navajo tribe. My concern about, people ask me all the time, what is your concern about the North Dakota Access Pipeline? We're here in Arizona. So what my concern is that people are unaware of is that this will not only affect the area of North Dakota, this will affect 18 million U.S. citizens. When this pipeline breaks, it's not if, it is when it breaks. It will break through the Missouri River. And the Missouri River not only feeds, our animals, because that's where they drink. Now we're also going to be eating that. My job as being Native American and also being a U.S. citizen is to protect our land, to protect the animals, to protect the four-legged and the animals that are in the water and protect them as well. This is a critical part of our environment. I like to know that I can turn on my sink and I have water, that we're not dealing with an issue like Flint, Michigan at this time. But if this North Dakota Access Pipeline, if Energy Transfer Partners does cross the Missouri River, that's a reality for all of us that we'll have to face, that your wealth will be determined by how much clean water you're able to buy from the store.
I was here today to exercise our constitutional right, for our voices to be heard. I understand that President Trump may have never worked in the public sector. I understand that when you come into a new office, it may be a little daunting. But you know what you need to do? You need to take a breather. You need to sit back and you need to listen to your people. We are his people. He's our president. Yet, he can't come in swinging and dropping all these executive orders on us in 5 days and not expect us to unravel. We have to be heard. But if we sit back and we just stay in our couch and watch the news or not do anything, then we'll never be heard. So I'm here exercising our constitutional right. So Mr. Trump, here's our community, because our community is beautiful, it's diverse, but it's united, and he needs to know that.
Speaking of community, I know you work very closely. You're an immigration attorney here in the Valley. Tell us about what it is that you are hearing from your clients about what this current administration is announcing.
Some are scared, some are terrified, some are aloof, some don't believe it. It's almost like they're in the twilight zone, and it's almost having to do a reality check. These executive orders took them out of that twilight zone and put them in reality. It's very disheartening to see people that are hardworking, that are doing everything that our American dream and our Constitution believes in, and yet just because they weren't as fortunate as me to be born here, they're being told that they're not loved. They're being told to go back home. Go back home to where? This is home. And so I understand that we have to keep our community safe. I understand that maybe not everyone's welcome into our home, but there's a way to do that. And beautifully, we have a vetting process. It may not be perfect, but we have a process. Therefore, if it's not perfect, that's fine. Let's fix it. But don't come in swinging.
So, my clients are terrified. My clients are in fear. And what I hear from my clients is that if they've been the victim of a crime, they will not come forward. They're much more fearful to come forward. So what does this mean to someone who's not undocumented? Well, if your neighbor has been the victim of a crime and they fear seeking help, that makes you a little less safe, because our communities become filled with fear and the inability to come forward and speak and stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. I'm here to ask and to plead to all of you that even if you are not undocumented, I guarantee you that you know someone close to you who is touched by this issue. And if any member of our community is in fear, then all of us should feel a little less safe.
We're here today at Indian Seal Park because, number one, this park in itself has a story of dividing people and ostracizing people. And I think the announcement today from the administration did that, divide not only our country, but continue to divide even our state. And now they're dividing our neighbor. They want to divide the neighbor of Mexico from the United States by putting up a wall. So I think we need to speak out, and we need to speak out why we all have come to the United States. This is the greatest country in the world, and right now it feels like we are just falling apart.
For some of our listeners and viewers, then, if you wouldn't mind informing them about why you're so passionate about the immigration community, not only here in Arizona, but throughout the country.
I think it's immigrants represent all of us. Everybody in the United States, I'll repeat that, everybody in the United States has an immigrant story, unless you were native. And my family has been here 6 generations. We've always have been here. So we need to recognize the fact that we are a nation of refugees and immigrants that have made this country what it is today. And that is why we have to continue for the dignity and respect of all people, not just immigrants. And today we were portraying that.
What are some calls to actions, let's say somebody in Flagstaff or in another state, can do to help the community?
First of all, they should call the White House and give a comment on the White House line directly to the president that says we will not stand here and let him divide us. Secondly, they need to find out if they're in Flagstaff who their representatives are at the U.S. Senate level, at the congressional level, at the mayoral level, at the state level. They just need to know who represents them, and they need to call them immediately. Lastly, you need to talk to your neighbors about what is going on and what you're concerned about and what the fears are, because it used to be that undocumented people are continually living in fear. I think everybody is living in fear because we have someone in this administration that has no idea how to govern. And when he starts saying things, hiring freezes or putting up walls, spending needless money on investigations about fraudulent voters, that is just a waste of money, and we should all be concerned about his actions.
This is something that people don't understand. Trump is the president. That ain't changing no time soon. And he does have that power of that executive pen. So, you know, there's a certain amount of resistance that has to happen, but there's also a certain amount of, okay, I need to have these conversations, these valuable, valid conversations that either we can go back to our community and say, well, we asked him and he said no. Okay, well then you said no, now we know we need to fight you. And slowly these policies are naturally coming out, right? So, you know, we're going to have to, you know, first we're going to have to see what he does. I'm not giving nobody a chance. He's already showing that he's going to be something ferocious to deal with within. But, you know, we have to actually make ask of him, too. It's not up to us to just assume that he's just going to be bad without us even attempting to talk to him. When he officially says no, which he's already showing a little bit, then that's when, you know, we have to actually advocate and fight against him no matter what within these communities. But I got to be honest. African Americans are poor and broke. A lot of us are right now. Our neighborhoods haven't changed underneath a Democrat, Republican. It doesn't really matter. And I'm a Democrat. But our neighborhoods have been the same for quite some time. So you might see a lot of African Americans who are like, what's the big deal? And it's an unfortunate thing, but the apathy comes from a place of exactly who's going to do what for me. You know, a lot of our elected officials, luckily Reggie Bowding's not like this, that's my brother there, but a lot of our elected officials across the country have never held anyone accountable. And all of a sudden they want to hold Trump accountable, which is cool, but it's like, where were you for the past 20 years? Your neighborhoods have been redlined and gentrified. Your school systems have been failing. The crime in your neighborhoods have gone up or stayed the same. You know, luckily infant mortality went down within our community, and I'm very happy about that. But there's so many issues that could have been dealt with before that now everybody wants to magically put on Trump. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying there needs to be a system of resistance, no matter who the president is.
I'm here today to make sure that we don't forget, as we talk about immigration issues and refugee issues, that within the already marginalized immigrant and refugee population are trans and queer refugees. And like I said, in a population already marginalized, these people are pushed even further to the edge and are escaping cultural persecution that we can't even begin to imagine. And they finally make it here because we're supposed to be the land of the free and the brave. And we want to turn these brave people away from the freedom that we have. And I wanted to speak out about that.
What calls to action in Arizona can be done to help this community?
Get organized. Reach out to any immigrants' rights groups, people that are doing work either directly with trans and queer immigrants or whose work intersects with trans and queer immigrants. There's a phenomenal organization doing the work here. It's called Trans Queer Pueblo. Reach out and see what they need.
Just that simple, right?
It is that simple. It's just finding out who's doing the work that needs to be done and then showing up and listening to what they tell you, not trying to go in and say, well, this is how it should be done.
If you had a moment with the current administration, what would you say?
Can I swear on your program?
You can do whatever you'd like.
What the fuck are you thinking? Like, how did we get here? Do you not have enough? A 70-year-old billionaire living in a large, tacky tower in New York City has everything he can ever need. There can be no tax structure we'd come up with that would take it all from you. Why do you care? What do you have against these people who were just trying to make it on a few dollars a week? What have we done to make your life that miserable that you had to go out of your way to steal the White House, to call up Mr. Putin and say, I'd like the White House, buy it for me? What did we do that grew this anger and ire and hatred inside of you? Tell us. Maybe we can talk it out. By that point, I'd be escorted out. So,
Actually, I think that's very powerful. Thank you for taking the time with us today.
Thank you for being here today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod.
And I'm Drea.
And we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodanddrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod and Drea.
Instagram?
Zod and Drea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodanddrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think. And if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye.
But for those other people and Donald Trump talking about make America great again, that's all code words.
Nah, you're right. It is all code words. And you, lastly,
they immediately say Mexican, which then equals illegal, and then which makes us all screwed.
Right.
And then I also, in the same point, so for Latinos who did vote for Trump, they voted against their